There were a lot of things that the NFL did not take into account when they made their 2024 schedule. One of those things being, basic mathematics. Welcome everybody to JG9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jared and I representing the 904 from the 602, and today we are talking about the NFL schedule release that happened yesterday. Lots of content we've already done on this channel. We already have over 10 videos of the schedule and some of the flaws with it, some of the interesting quirks with it, and we got way more coming, so be sure to hit that like button and hit the notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss a moment of the action when we do post a video, because we have a lot of content. I think this has to be the most videos any channel has done on the NFL schedule this year as it has come out. But regardless, we're going to talk about something that the NFL did not take into account with Week 5 that I don't get why they decided not to do this. So, if you know the Pittsburgh Steelers and you know the Cincinnati Bengals, you know that their stadiums are right next to baseball stadiums. The Steelers play at Acrisure Stadium. That is right next to PNC Park, where the Pittsburgh Pirates play. The Cincinnati Bengals play at Paycor Stadium, which is right next to where the Cincinnati Reds play at Great American Ballpark. So, with that being said, both of those teams share parking lots. The Steelers and the Pirates share the same parking lot. The Reds and the Bengals share the same parking lot. So, what that means is that you don't see the two teams playing at home in the same week. It doesn't happen. If you do that, it'd be a massive traffic jam. There'd be way too many cars on the road going to that one location. There wouldn't be enough parking spots. It would be an absolute nightmare. It's the same reason I did a video before the schedule came out on why the Pittsburgh Steelers are guaranteed to not play at home in Week 1, because it would be impossible since the Pittsburgh Pirates are playing at home that week. And you look at the schedule for the first 4 weeks that the Pittsburgh Steelers have, none of those games conflict with Pittsburgh Pirates games. Same thing with the Reds and the Bengals. None of the games that the Bengals have conflict with Cincinnati Reds home games. If you want to know why Bengals Commanders is a Monday night game, you might think to yourself, that's a bit weird. Bengals Commanders, maybe not the most appealing matchup on Monday Night Football. Well, the reason for that is because on Sunday, September 22nd, the Cincinnati Reds are taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates in Cincinnati. So you couldn't do the Bengals on that Sunday because the two teams share the same parking lot, and it would be a logistical nightmare. It would be catastrophic. So that game is on Monday because the Reds do not play on Monday. There's some quirks with the schedule as a result of that. But the NFL decides to throw that out the window in Week 5 by having both the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals play at home. In Week 5, the Steelers play the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, and the Bengals play the Ravens at 1 o'clock. That game is going to stay at 1 o'clock. That's not going to get flexed. That's not, especially not going to Sunday Night Football, because Steelers-Cowboys is going to be that game. Now, the problem with that is that both the Steelers and the Bengals are at home. The Pirates and the Reds are in the same division, which means the Pirates and the Reds have a 40% chance of winning the NL Central. And that could be a problem because Week 5, that Sunday, conflicts with the NLDS. It conflicts with the divisional round series of the Major League Baseball playoffs. So the NFL has left themselves no outs because if the Pirates or the Reds host, they are completely screwed. Completely screwed. Because the two teams share the same parking lot, it would not be possible. Now, I want to make it very clear. I'm not saying to schedule around contingencies and things that might not happen. I'm not saying for the Steelers to schedule around the Pirates possibly making the World Series. I'm not saying for the Bengals to possibly schedule around the Reds making it to the NLCS. Obviously, if you did that, the Steelers and the Bengals wouldn't play any home games in the month of October. It would be incredibly unrealistic. It would not be good whatsoever. It would not be fair to either of those teams. But at the very least, you want to increase your odds that there is not a scheduling nightmare. What do I mean by that? Well, either the Steelers or the Bengals should have been on the road in Week 5, so you're only banking on one of those teams to not win the division in the NL Central instead of two. It's a different story if the Pirates and the Reds were in different divisions. If the Pirates were in the NL East and the Reds were in the NL Central or something like that, different story. I'm not having this conversation. But they're in the same division, so there is a 40% chance that one of them wins the division. Will it happen? I don't know. But there is a 40% chance that one of them wins. If you do some basic mathematics and probability odds and all that, you would know that this is a bad idea. Let's say two teams played in separate divisions. There's 5 teams in each division. So let's say the Reds played in one division, the NL Central, and the Pirates played in the NL East. there's a 4 in 5 chance that they won't win the division, which makes sense. The Reds are one team in a division. There's 4 other teams. There's a 80% chance that another team will win that division. 0.8 times 0.8, since you got 2 teams, there's a 64% chance that you will not have one of those teams win the division if you plan it like that, where the Steelers or the Bengals are on the road in week 5. However, with 2 teams in the same division, there is a 3 in 5 chance that they won't win it, because Reds and Pirates are 2 of the teams. They could win it, but also the Cubs, Brewers, and the Cardinals. So 0.6 chance, 60% chance that they win it. Which has a better chance of happening? Something with 64% odds or 60% odds? Obviously, 64%. If you're the NFL, you want the 64%. You want the higher odds. You want the thing that has a better chance at happening, so that you don't have to have that conflict with the Steelers or the Bengals having to share a game on the same day with the Pirates and the Reds. But because you did it like this, where both the Steelers and the Bengals are at home during week 5, which conflicts with the NLDS, there is a 60% chance that it won't be an issue, where there's a 40% chance that it will be, versus 64% where it won't be, and 36% that it would be. So the NFL ignored the rules of basic mathematics when designing the schedule by not accounting for this contingency. And again, I'm not saying the Steelers should be on the road week 5. I'm not saying the Bengals should be on the road week 5. But at the very least, one of those teams should have been on the road in week 5, because if the Pirates or the Reds win the Central, there is a good chance that Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, whichever one of those cities would host, would be completely screwed over from a logistical standpoint, from a traffic standpoint, from a parking standpoint. It would be a nightmare for the fans. It would be a massive headache for everyone involved. There might be a staffing issue too. It would not be good. Now again, this could all be a moot point. We might be looking at this and say the Pirates and the Reds 3 months from now, we're like, oh, they're not making the playoffs. Obviously, this is nothing to worry about. And they don't wind up hosting that Sunday game in the NLDS. But if they do, and again, it's confirmed that the DS is taking place on Sunday, so we're going to have an issue in some capacity if the Pirates or the Reds end up hosting one of those games on that Sunday. You know, MLB doesn't like playing a lot of games on Sundays anymore during the NFL season. The World Series, they don't play on Sunday anymore. There's an off day. Game 3 is on Monday. Game 2 is on Saturday. They take off on that Sunday. The NLCS, ALCS, one of those series doesn't have a game on Sunday based on the way it works. I take an off day there because I don't want to conflict with the NFL and the TV ratings juggernaut that is. But there are some things like the NLDS, the ALDS that are unavoidable because of the way the baseball schedule works, and the NFL decided not to leave any contingencies in there. Again, mathematics say either put the Steelers or the Bengals on the road. You don't have to put both of them on the road, but at least one of them should have been on the road. The fact that both of them are at home, they left themselves no outs. It's just basic mathematics. I don't know why they didn't take that into account, because they share the same parking lot, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's one of the many flaws of this schedule that I'm not sure how many people are talking about, but it's something interesting to say the least, and not in a good way. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this will end up being an issue? Do you think that the Pirates or the Reds will end up winning the NL Central? It's not looking likely right now, but you never know. That division's not the strongest on paper. How do you think the Steelers are going to do? The Bengals are going to do? What are your thoughts on the Steelers and the Bengals schedule? Let me know everything down below. And that is going to do it for this episode of JJ9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check my main channel, Jaguar Gamer 9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. Until next time, this is Jaguar Gamer 9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.